Hello, welcome to our new episode of It's Gonna Be Okay. I have another guest of mine here. His name is Jason Delgado. He is a comedian, male comedian extraordinaire in Los Angeles.
I don't know if that's true. I'll see it.
It is. Just take it.
I'll take
the
extraordinaire,
okay. All right.
please.
Excellent. Okay, Jason. I know I've met you in passing, but not in passing. That sounds horrible.
We hugged and hung
hugged.
deep trenches of large nightclubs where people grab people's asses when they shouldn't have. Do you remember that story?
Yes, I remember that.
That is probably the coolest hangout we've ever had.
You mean when I jumped on stage
And I ran away?
and I was gonna go kick this guy's ass?
True story. You should review it. I was about to go up. The guy before me went up. And as he was going up, I'm walking out to kind of get a moment for myself. And I just hear, what? Can we curse?
Yeah.
What
yeah.
the fuck? And I turn around. It's her yelling at some guy on stage because he just is getting done copping the biggest feel of a fellow comedian's butt. Don't want to call names out. And then she was like, yo. And then he's like, you grabbed her ass. And he got on the mic. He's like, I didn't grab nobody's ass. I was like, you're either Daniel Day-Lewis or you just don't know what ass grabbing means.
Yeah. And on top of it, he denied it. And it was all on camera.
Like, it was still shaking when he let his hands go when I turned around. I was like, there's no way a butt didn't get grabbed right there, sir. And then he did 5 minutes, and he's like, I'm out of here. People were like...
Yeah.
And then they're like, now the comedy styles of Jason Delgado. And I was like, hey, everybody. When I went up, I pounded, I fist pounded. I didn't even get near your face. I don't want to look.
You were like, that's awkward.
I don't even know what a butt is. I'm just here to make a laugh.
No, you saw the ghetto come out of me.
But that was good. You said, like, what the fuck? I don't give a fuck. Yo, fuck a party. I don't give a fuck. And I was like, hey, this is going to be a good show. Glad I'm next. And then you're like, I did a show about being crazy.
Okay.
I was like, I know this is going to work. That's going to deliver.
Okay, Jason.
So that's how we met. So we're better
no, that's not how we met.
We
But
didn't
that's
high-five in the corner.
That was one of the best hangouts shows we did together.
If you have a hang like that, it's more than just the A.
Yeah, that's true.
We got a little
that's
something.
True. Just make sure that A doesn't go A.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Well, I'm going to cop your butt when I don't know you.
Yeah, none
This'll
of that.
be fun.
We ain't down for that.
You know what'll really kill? Copping a stranger's ass.
Oh, no. Okay, Jason. So our audience doesn't know who you are.
No.
Please introduce yourself.
I am a comedian person in the world. No, I'm a comedian from originally from the Bronx, New York.
Hell yeah.
Rep the Bronx, DA Bronx.
That's right.
I'm
Wu-Tang Clan.
Wu-Tang Clan. I think
Ain't nothing to
there you
fuck
go. I think Wu-Tang Clan might be from
with.
Staten Island, but we will still represent. But Big Pun forever. I will. And then I came out to LA to do movies, screenwriting, and they're like, you're gonna be a big star, kid. And then I was like, you're gonna work at the Carl's Jr. And then wound up, just brushing around and getting jobs. Got involved in tech, so I wound up doing computer stuff. Still making movies, still doing stuff. But then I was like, I kind of want to do creative stuff that's not every 3-4 months. You know what I mean? So then I started to do stand-up comedy. Did that little by little. It's always, I always say, like, it's kind of like the world tells you. Like, it's like, I want to be a professional tennis player. And then you suck and you're like, the world's telling me not. But I was doing stand-up and, did a show, it went well. Did another show, it went well. And then, somebody asked me to do another show. And then I got to go to the Comedy Store. And then, So I was like, I'm just going to follow it. And then now it's kind of a combination of the two where I do movies and stand-up. So, and try not to lose my mind.
I love that. I love that you segued into that. I'm trying to do all this shit. Yeah.
That's what it is. I mean, that's everybody. I mean, comedians are everything. We're directors, we're writers, we're producers.
Right.
We're stage managers.
Yeah. Well,
wardrobe.
this is kind of when I start realizing that my mental illness works for me. You know what I mean? I got a whole fucking team. I got a whole fucking team in here. Okay, a whole fucking team. All right.
They get mad at each other and me. I hate them.
Yeah, they can manage my social life, but I can't manage my emotions.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
I'm like, fuck this.
And that's all you need to do.
Yeah.
Literally, if you can manage your emotions, the rest of life is easy. But then you're like, why'd you gotta cut me off? I mean, we were all in the same lane, and then everything's gone.
Oh,
Zen
man.
is gone.
I love this. I love this. Okay, so we've spoken briefly about I guess our own emotions, our own emotional off camera, in personal life. So I know we you mentioned something about how you've never like formally been diagnosed with anything.
No.
And that's fine. That's fine. We're, that's not what have you ever gone to therapy?
I have.
Okay.
I have.
And you've never been. Okay. So therapy is not there to diagnose you.
I went to therapy as a child.
Oh no.
So my parents know I'm crazy, but
No.
I officially don't
Okay,
know I'm
so-
crazy. They're like, this can't be normal. Get a doctor. But no, I did when I was younger, when I was a kid, I went to therapy. And I just remember playing Sorry, ironically.
Sorry.
Like the game.
Okay.
I don't remember
Yeah.
how to play it. But I remember like we'd be playing and then she'd be like, and what makes you angry? And I'm like, everything. You know what I mean? And I don't remember, but I remember like looking back going like, that was game. She was doing a little board game and then being like, hey, so why do you think you're crazy all the time? And then I would just talk and like kind of go through that. But then after a while, I was just like, I don't want to go. I think this crazy's here to stay.
Was that, did you, you said you went as a child. Was that something that like the school made you go through?
Yeah,
or?
no, because I used to get in a lot of fights.
Oh, okay.
And
I
then-
relate to that. Yeah.
And then, you know how that goes. And then things made me angry person. And so I just, I wound up, they were just like, hey, that's abnormal. And I was like, okay. And so my parents wound up sending me to a thing for a little bit. And then when I got out of it, I was perfect. So it totally works.
Are you sure
No.
about that? I was like,
And that's the end of the
are you-
podcast.
yeah,
Go to
no,
therapy.
are you
Goodbye.
sure?
And that's and that was the thing. And so I don't remember it. But then I really think people should go to therapy. I think it's great to talk to somebody. I have a great group of friends I talk to, so that helps. Mm-hmm. But I think that it is one of those odd things where, like, even as a kid, they're like, keep an eye on that.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Professionally,
the
keep an eye
only
on
reason why I asked, like, if that was something that, like, the school put you through, or if something, because I oftentimes, like, you're Latino, right?
Yeah.
You're
Puertorriqueño siempre
exactly.
siento.
So I think, like, there's this stigma with like minorities where they'll think like, oh,
you Latin-blooded crazy person.
Yeah. No, not just that. Like things that we do don't seem crazy to us. It's
Preach.
just, you know what I mean? It's just
Preach.
that's just who we are as
Preach.
people. But when we leave the house, now all of a sudden like that shit's abnormal. You know what I mean?
Preach.
Like it's normal for us to be hot-blooded and angry. And it's not a disaster, you know?
The bigger question isn't why am I yelling. The bigger question is why aren't you yelling? Because if you
Exactly.
don't yell, that means you don't care. And if you
Exactly.
don't care, I should yell more.
We're just
And that's the
passionate.
Latino way.
Yeah, we are passionate.
It reaches a crescendo
people.
and then it kind of solves itself somehow. You know what I mean? I was listening to a podcast with somebody where I think that's why God made sleep. Like they're like, some people need 4, some people need 6. Latinos, we probably need 8 hours. A good 8 hours where we can't even move. And then we wake up the next day and we're like, it's okay. And that has a certain, like, that's why we need our sleep. That's why we need to relax. Because there's an element where it's like, when you run that hot, it's like, I'm going to require 8 hours. Where
Yeah,
you
you got
down.
it. Well, I usually like, okay, so I had a guy recently break up with, well, not recently, and I say a year. He broke
That's
up with
recently.
me.
How long were you dating?
For a few months. He broke up with me and he was like, I can't date an angry person. You have anger issues.
That was so much fun, though.
And I told him, I said, no, motherfucker. I said, we have anger issues, bitch. Okay. You're in a relationship with me. My issues are yours. Okay.
That's
you
true.
subscribing to them, motherfucker. All right.
Great Chris Rock joke where Obama became president. He goes to his wife and he goes, honey, I became president. She goes, no, we became president.
But he didn't understand, like, that's part of the thing that he loved about me.
That is the best part about us.
Was that I was passionate. He just didn't like that when it was anger directed at him because he did something wrong. He didn't want to take accountability for it. Then all of a sudden now I'm the one with the issue.
People are boring. Sorry.
Yeah.
We might be too hot, but we could find a place in the middle. But let me tell you, like, I think there is something, like, even when I'm done with an argument, I'm like, look, I was wrong. But, man, that was like 3 hours. I'm sweating. I closed my ring on my Apple Watch. I'm just killing it right now.
Yeah.
And I think that there is an attraction. I mean, I have, in a lot of relationships, and they go, hey, I'm done with this. I can't be with you. And I go, okay. And then I just, like, 4 months go by and like, hey. And I'm like, I know. I'm bored too.
Yeah.
Isn't it fun when we just argue for a little bit and then and it breaks up? And I feel like there's a variable there where it's like, if we can just get it right in that control spot where it's like we're hot when it's fun.
I kind of like to compare like Latin women to like our candy. You know what I mean? Where it's covered in you got to earn the sweet part. You know, you have to earn it. You have to get through the spice to earn it. And then all of a sudden it's like beautiful watermelon flavor, you bursting in your mouth.
We care so much.
And we love you,
And we care so much. And nobody, like that sort of level of care, you know, I don't know. I don't know if it's a cultural thing or whatever that thing is, but I just find like there is something about the way Hispanic people care for one another. Just the families, the sort of the units. You know, I just see that level is just different. It's just sometimes, you know, it involves a knife.
Exactly. Well, I mean, but then like, oh, man, there's a double-edged sword to that. You know what I mean? Sometimes some of that stuff can become borderline abusive, and I understand that because I address it with my mom too because I've told her ass some shit, you know, and I'll be like, Mom, the shit we thought was regular growing up, like that shit's fucked up, you know. And the reason why is
that's
because
in a book.
Yeah, and the reason why is because her ass keep doing it, you know, while we're older. And I'm like, Mom, you can't be whooping my ass I'm 37 years old, okay? You can't be doing this shit.
That's really funny. Mom, the chancleta is not gonna work anymore, okay? I have Social Security.
Well, no, not just that, but I mean, like, she's an older woman too. Like, she can't take a hit either, you know, because then it's elderly abuse.
Hey, if you're going to throw it, you got to take it. That's your mom.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's the way it is. That's the way and I don't think, and it's like I've gotten into, even just last year, I've gotten into yelling matches with my mother where it's just like, we got into a big blowout like 2 years ago about something that was very, very stupid. And I was just like, you know, I get into this thing about like respect. I don't know if that's a Hispanic thing or whatever, but there's this variable of like, man, when I feel like disrespected, like, man,
you got to stand up for yourself.
Like, come
right?
on, man, you know what you're doing and you know that's not right.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then it's like, who, me? And then I go, I'm gonna yell and get it out of here. If I yell, and then you wind up figuring it out. But I think that there's this, you know, there's this thing of like, you if it's there and you're feeling it and you just go, I'm just gonna go for a jog or I'm gonna go for a hike, that just don't work for me. Like I need to let it. If it's that bad, I need to confront it. It's just the things I'm learning and the techniques I'm learning from therapy and from reading and from these, you know, books, is that it's like you got to direct it in a way that's addressing it to you. Like on a quick side note, there was this Jonah Hill text that came out. I don't know if you saw that. Jonah Hill texted this girl like this fucking like 3 books worth of text. Jeez. And was like, here are the things that I don't want you doing. If you can't do these things, like if you can't not take pictures with guys, if you can't
like
not
an
post
ultimatum.
Yourself, here's the thing: if you can't do that, then that's gonna cross my boundaries, and we can't be together. And everybody was like, good for Jonah, you know, telling a girl what you really feel and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, bro, that's not boundaries. That's like
those
laws.
Are demands,
dude. Bro.
That's a fucking list of demands like a terrorist,
that's
dog.
A demand, bro. Like boundaries are for you. Like you go like, I'm not going to hang out with you if you're going to do this. Like, and that's a thing. But like, if you go like, and it was worded like, if you can't stop doing this. And I'm like, bro, that little like, shade half stuff I think is worse than me going, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck? You're gonna do this now? What the fuck? As opposed to, you know, I'm just saying, like maybe emotionally you're like, ugh, throw up in my mouth. Like I'd much rather be wrong and be real than to have this kind of, I'm gonna text you 9 paragraphs and be like, I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just saying you're wrong. Like
I like how that's a thing where he's like using what is it? Therapeutic vernacular
like therapy speech.
To manipulate another person. I've had that happen to me. I've had it happen to me. And I'm like, I say, why does this not feel right? Why does this interaction not feel right? You know?
I feel, but sometimes the professional way to do it is just go, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
This is fucking bullshit.
Yeah, pretty much. And then that person will say, will cry victim and say, you're the one attacking me and this and this. Yeah.
Why you got to use that language? Would you rather I text you 9 paragraphs of bullshit?
Exactly.
And so we find a medium.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm going to go back to what you were talking about how, you know, as a kid, why that's important, mostly because was that the first and last time you went to therapy? Or
no, I went to one other time
Just one more. You like I can count.
One other time
Two
where,
times.
as an adult, I went through some stuff where I was just like not doing well mentally. And I was like, and somebody was like, hey, you know, I'm going to therapy, you know, people are going to therapy. And then there was like these websites that like, you don't even have to tell me your name. You just go to therapy. Mm-hmm. And I had a friend who was a therapist. So I went and I was like, hey, I feel these things and I feel these things. And the best advice I could possibly get was, it was like, you just have to forgive. Mm-hmm. And I was like, no, but wait, oh no, oh wait, yeah. I'm just mad. Like, I'm mad at kids. Like there's this great comedian, I forgot his name, sorry. But he does this great joke about, he goes, you ever do something really embarrassing and then think about it 8 years later? Like, that's like the story of my life, right? And so I feel like there's this thing about having, like, you know, these things that you're bringing up in the past that are coming back. And if you could forgive those things from the past, then the next time it comes up, you go, hey, I already forgave myself for that. And I was just like, oh, that's really cool. Mm-hmm. That didn't take 20 years. That was 3 hours. That's great. Everybody should go to therapy. But I think that there's some cases where, you know, you like to talk to people every week and do a thing, where for me, I think sometimes I just need a
just
dump.
Vent,
yeah,
just dump it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that works. I would rather hear like somebody doing that than, you know, keep doing the wrong thing.
Exactly, or holding it in. And I think that's the best part about it. I mean, if you do it regular, that's what I'm saying. Like, I remember one time we had at my job, they brought in a masseuse to give like 10, 15-minute massages to people. And the lady was doing my massage, and I was like, this is incredible. She's like, yeah, I work for a CEO who gets these done twice a week. And I was like, that's why he's a CEO. Because he massage and get himself. So when he goes to a meeting, he's like, dude, everything's great. Why are people mad? And I think like that's what therapy is. It's like, it will massage those emotions out so that like when you have to go back out into the world, you have a little bit of a clearing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's therapy is definitely, I mean, from what...
I'm so sorry if this mic is blowing it.
No. From what the last therapist that I had, he said that you're supposed to go in and feel decompressed. It's almost like, you know, you see like a water valve, like pressure that goes through it, and it's like turning that water valve. Mm-hmm. That's what you're doing in therapy, you know, to kind of just
depressurize.
Yeah. But I mean, he didn't tell me that like that's one small water valve for a Hoover Dam of fucking emotions. You know what I mean? That's a Hoover Dam.
You'll have all these valves.
Yes, I only have one valve.
Yep.
And the Hoover Dam is everything, all the trauma, all that, fuck that, you know what I mean?
And when it comes out, like it's like a lightning storm in Florida.
Yeah.
Where I'll be like, somebody takes too long at Starbucks, and I'll be like, you know, everything sucks. Wait a minute, whoa.
Until you get your coffee, and then everything's great.
Yeah, and then like, it's just knowing that moment, like that's a moment that's gonna be there and it's gonna pass. And what I think before, I'd be like, why do I feel this way? I'm broken. Everything's broken. Keep feeling this way.
Oh, so it just spirals then.
Right. And I feel like if you just go like, hey, the best thing we could do is forgive other people for taking too long. Mm-hmm. Your gift is kind of seeded, is kind of sowed. And you just, just 2 more minutes. 1 more minute. And you can keep the wolf, you know what I mean? But it's still like, I don't just go like, everything brushes by me in a great wind. I'm like, this is taking a minute, but I'm blessed.
As long as you don't get aroused from that blow, okay?
Yeah, anyway, I just go like, I just am trying to.
And
that's the other thing about it, because it's like, you know, I always say like, you know what feels better than love? Hate. Oh, you know how good. Wait,
but
have you ever felt hate? People lift cars off of babies with the strength of hate.
I think hate is the same. It's just passion rewritten.
Totally, but it's
just
like
passion
when you're
rewritten.
in the middle of it, you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
I know I'm wrong, but I feel like I could fly.
Yeah. Yes.
That's where I think it's, you know, it's a negative reinforcement, where I feel like I've had enough instances where I've blown up and I've been so embarrassed about something stupid I said or some way I behaved. And I look back on it and I go like, ugh. And I think like that helps, you know, the next time that comes around. I'm like, remember that embarrassing thing 8 years ago? And you go, oh, I'm going to chill.
I don't know. I don't feel when I get angry and I blow up, I don't often regret it. And
no, I do regret it, but like I said at the time, I'm like, Red Bull gives you wings.
yeah. Oh my God. Okay. I meant often. Like, I understand sometimes I'll blow up over something completely insignificant. Sure. Then I really do feel remorse, and I'll apologize right then and there because I realize like, oh, that shouldn't have happened. Right. Other times, like the time that we hung out when I went up on stage and I blew up on that guy, that was justified.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. But like, I think that level of anger is good to protect you. Yeah. And good to like, there's a thing there, like not to get voogie on stuff, but like, I believe, a little bit of that. I'm sort of a believer in like God and the universe and stuff. And I'm just like, you're kind of perfect. You're perfect exactly the way you are. And so you should just work with what you got. And if you blow up hard, there's got to be a place for that. You know what I mean? There's got to be something for that.
Yeah, sometimes
that's going to keep you alive when these fucking bored people are dead at 50. You're going to be like, I'm mad at 78. And it's like, whatever that is. Whatever that is.
Oh, no.
But it's going to.
That's funny. I mean, one time my mom did say something that I felt was interesting. She was like, the way I stay young is from rage.
Yeah.
Rage keeps me young. And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
I got an aunt who just rages so hard, God bless her. But like, I'll post something. Like, I'll be like, hey, having a show at the blah. And underneath she'll put a comment, yeah, don't take any shit from nobody. And I'm like, thanks, Auntie. Thanks, Titi. I'll do good. I hope so. I'm out to Bruise Brewery.
For more daily inspirational quotes, dude.
Don't you take shit from nobody. I really like your Thanksgiving turkey. Don't you take no shit. Thanks, Titi. Appreciate that.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, that's funny.
But I think, like I said, runs in the family. It's in the blood. I'm 100% Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
We run hot, you know what I mean? But then we dance well. So it's like,
So you're dancing. You're basically dancing your feelings away,
right? Or it's like it's an instant. That's the thing that's kind of like it's 0 to 100, and so like I feel like that's the thing that maybe other Hispanics kind of understand that variable, or just other cultures that run hot. I know Sicilians run hot too. So there's this thing about I think cultures that understand that volumes get raised. You know what I mean? There's a show called The Bear that's on FX about like chefs, and it's all an all Italian family. And they had this amazing episode that was a Christmas episode. And it's just you literally yelling the whole time. And I was like, this feels like home.
Yeah.
Because it's like they're yelling at this, they're yelling at that. Why isn't this doing that? And I think a normal family sometimes feels a little like it should be, and how are things with you? Things are very good. And I'm just like, ugh, get me out of here. Somebody yell. Somebody throw something.
Yeah, no, I get that. You know what? I my guard goes up when I confront people that are like that, or when I encounter, not confront, when I encounter people. We're on the pulse of anger. Okay. Sometimes when I meet people and they're very very just calm, I'm like, what's going on here?
Not enough is wrong with you.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on? Should I be scared?
It's that great Louis C.K. joke where he goes, if murder was legal and you didn't murder someone, I wouldn't trust you.
Right?
Like, you haven't murdered anyone? Live.
But that,
I think that's the thing. I think everybody, we live in this world where it's like, control your emotions. If you want to be ahead in business, ahead in life, you need to control your emotions. Stoicism. Be a stoic.
But that's not good either. That is toxic.
I think the thing that they're not saying is, and also we're all faking it. Like, even if you're stoic, like even if you're like, this is not bothering me, what you're doing is you're telling yourself, this is not bothering me. This is not bothering me. This is not bothering me.
But it's almost
so
like,
I don't like that you're like out of the womb. No, because there are people who are like, I came out of the womb calm.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God bless those people or whatever. But I think this idea that it's like, if you're not that, like if you have any emotion that's in any way awkward or weird or too much, you're broken. And I'm like, relax. Everybody's lying.
No. And I think I'm gonna touch bases with the work ethic when you bring that up, which is interesting.
You have an excellent work ethic.
Yeah, no, not me.
You really do. Way better than me.
All right,
I should get out more.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it ties in with this idea that we have to be productive all the fucking time. And in being productive, we have to hold back our emotions and whatever it is that makes us human. We're not machines.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not machines. So some part of me kind of like with this thing, like a lot of people will get upset, like, oh, fuck AI and all this and that. And I'll be like, you know what? I want AI to come and replace. I want to be a fucking cyborg already. Okay. I want like lasers shooting out of my goddamn eyes. I'm tired of being human.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's the thing. I think that now we're seeing these things where it's like, I can write a book using AI, or I can do this. I can write my own program using AI. I don't even need to learn anything or like develop any skills. I could just talk to this computer and it does everything for me. Mm-hmm. And it's like, keep taking that out. What if it could make money for you? What if it could eat for you? What if it could do anything? What's the point of living?
Right.
Like, what's the point of even being alive? I read this thing where it was like, I forgot what book it was, but it was like, you know, life is kind of like going on a vacation. It's like if you were on the vacation and you went and experienced all those things, the whole point of the thing is to go back home. So why even go on the vacation? You know what I mean? You could just like look it up on YouTube. But the point of it is something in you wanted to go through some experiences and have these things. And so when these things happen, try to take it as kind of like, oh man, this is, you know, the way it is, but I feel like it's not this. I feel sometimes I get into this like, you see what God just did to you? You know, and it's just like, why is there traffic? You know, and you go into this woe is me. And I think that there's a part of it where you kind of have to take, you know, have to bring yourself out of that a little and go like, dude, you're still here. You're still doing your thing. You're still, you know, and whether that's working hard or chilling or whatever, it's just level of happiness. And I feel like if you can establish that, you don't have to worry about those other stuff. I think that people look on Instagram and stuff like that because they go like, man, look at all these things that people are doing. I want to do those things too.
Yeah.
And then they get to a point where it crosses over to, I have to do these things in order to compete on Instagram. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it goes to red line. But I think that social media is cool. Like if I see people like, oh man, they're playing at the Comedy Store, I should try to play at the Comedy Store. Like I think that's
it's inspiring.
I think it's just like when you're just like, I just need to know everything about, you know, I think it can, like everything, it can go too far. But I think that that's a good thing. Like it's nice to see where people are at. Like when somebody gets a show, you go, oh man, like they got a show. But I always feel like, you know, if they got a fucking show, I can get a fucking, you know what I mean? Like I feel like I can. You're
like, I'm happy.
Play, man.
I'm happy, but I'm partially competitive.
No, but of course, but I also feel like I'm happy for them because it's even better.
Yeah. Like
for me, even from an ego point, like, man, if they fucking got it, I could definitely fucking get it. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's just, it's more of like trying to put myself in a position where I feel motivated because a lot of times, you know, it's tough to stay motivated. You know, just going up on stage. You know what we do with these bar shows. Sometimes we get shows where you get ass grabbing and a great time, but then other times you get shows
fried pickles
where it's like, hey, you guys ever been to a mall? And it's like nothing, and you're just like, I don't know, you know, you deal with that, and you have to, like, remember that show you came to with like at the comic book store or whatever?
Oh yeah,
that was a packed house full of great people, but I was like, I show up to a comic book store and like, you're ready to do comedy? I was like, I sure hope so. Is Yu-Gi-Oh gonna be here? But like then eventually people show up, you get the energy or whatever, but that's a lot of risk, it, you know, and I feel like to be in a position like that where you're doing that and you have to give, you know, to people, you want to make people laugh, you want to, you know, have them experience a good time, you have to be kind of in a good place, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
clearly.
So I feel like so much of that is like, you know, I want to do good, I want to get on the big stage, I want to do that thing.
Yeah.
And so I like that
you have that hunger.
Yeah,
you know?
And I think that's where work ethic is good. Is people are just like, I don't want to do anything, I just want to lie down. I'm just like, that's good for like a weekend, but it's like, I think to a certain point, like I don't know if it's, I think it's a personality thing. They say it's the masculine energy because it's like, I always think like, you know, for a lot of women, if you're a guy and you go like, I'm just going to take care of you, you could just stay home and do nothing. If you're high feminine energy, guy or girl, they're going to be like, this is a dream come true. I just got all my dreams come true. Or if somebody came to me and was like, I don't want you to even work, just stay home, take care of it, I'd be like, no. I can't. Like, I feel like I need to contribute to the world in some way. I don't know why. Even if it sucks, like, even if there's traffic, like, I feel like I do need this. I feel compulsion to contribute to the world in some way. And so I think, like, that's good. The thing that I have a problem with it, when it's like, you have these people who are, like, faking. Like, there are people who are, like, fake, like, where they like help homeless people.
Oh,
and they have their like people
that. Yeah,
who are like these influencers, or they're saying like, I'm fixing like an old homeless shelter, and then they just go back in their car and drive away. And I feel like the intimating of activity or like the faking of doing something or like the grinding BS.
Yeah.
I'm totally with you on that.
Yeah.
I think that it's like, don't be like, yeah, out here grinding, getting a haircut. You're getting a fucking haircut. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, put in perspective.
Yeah.
But I do feel like a little bit of that is like, oh man, I want to be special too.
Well, I mean, you mentioned the work ethic. I think that's just because we're Latino. You know what I mean?
That's true.
It's just because we're Latino, you know, like
and Puerto Ricans are known to be lazy, and I'm just so not.
You know what? I don't think that's true.
You know that old Puerto Rican joke about blowjobs, right?
No.
You know why Puerto Ricans don't like blowjobs, right?
Why?
They don't like any job. You know, and that's funny. And that's really funny. And that's maybe not true as it is true, but I think that there is a variable to this, like, you know, there's, you know, look at J-Lo. She's super hardworking, works out all the time, does this stuff, super Puerto Rican. And so, like, but then there's other people who are like, you know, not that in the culture. But I feel like, in general, there's something about, like, if you're out here doing this thing, whether in LA or whatever, and you're grinding, you're trying to make it, you just can't be lazy.
No.
Yeah,
you can't, whether you're Hispanic or not.
Yeah, but it helps if you're Hispanic.
It helps if you're Hispanic.
Gear.
Yes,
that
exactly.
anger gear.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought it was interesting that you said, because we spoke earlier about this, like I was like, oh, when I send you like a list of all the things that I want to talk about.
I don't know if we had any of them, but
yeah, I know. You probably just it's okay. Most people don't look at you.
No,
like
just
that.
because you're like we're gonna talk about like the therapy you went through and your diagnosis, and I was like, ooh,
no, it's no.
I'm not really that.
No.
I'm just like.
I understand. And when and the fact that you were honest about how you weren't diagnosed. No. That is fine because you said I diagnosed myself.
Of course, every morning.
And I thought that was funny as hell. I was like, all right, yeah, let's talk about that then.
I mean, we all do. That's all we do all day, you know, is diagnose ourselves and go like, why am I mad at this? Why do I feel this way? Why is this person, you know, not to get too sour or dour on anything, but like my brother recently passed away. Like it's 4 months ago. Best friend, like hero of my life.
Wow, I'm
younger
sorry.
brother. Yeah, huge deal for me. Like tremendous hit in my life. Just randomly, heart attack, stuff away.
Oh no!
And it was one of these sort of seminal moments, you know, like to go home with my parents and to have to go through all that and to see all that, and that it makes you like, you know, as sad as it is, I'm like, dude, you're still alive. You have life force in you. You know what I mean? And that life force.
You say that too?
Like I'm dude, life force is, and that's what heals your body. That's what gets you up. That's what moves everything. And I've seen life force move a mountain from here to there. So like, I mean, I've seen crazy shit. So like, I think that when something like that hit, it really gave me that like, let the lady at Starbucks do her thing, bro. You're still alive. You know what I mean? You're going to be just fine, bro. Just, you know, you're alive. And also more purpose, because I feel like now there's an element to it. Like we had dreams. We would talk to each other about our dreams. And now it's just like, up to you. And I'm just like, oh, you know, and I feel a little bit of that where I feel like, I feel more of a need to live up to something now. And I think that as much as that is sad or whatever, it's also nice because it does, when somebody cuts you off or there's traffic or these things, I do feel this kind of like, chill, bro. You're still alive. You still have life force. You could be anywhere in the world right now, in the ground. So like, live your dream. Keep going. Don't worry about the lady taking too long at Starbucks. Just keep going. Yeah. And I think that, I mean, I don't suggest, you know, somebody have a tragedy happen to shift that. But I think just that idea when it happens with such a hit, you know, there's this saying that says, behind every successful person is somebody who had no other choice. And I'm like, that's so true. You know what I mean? Like at some point you're just like, I guess I'm going to figure this out because I don't want to look like a dork, you know? And you wind up figuring it out. And then you elevate based on just sheer life force, you know?
Yeah. No, I like to say I have life force when I'm working out.
Yeah.
Because I don't.
Dude, I've seen your abs. You have life force. Let me tell you, you have life force and you have
I do
no
not
carbs.
have abs yet. They're coming in through Amazon.
Hey.
No, I
ordered those.
Yeah. No,
but that's the thing. I mean, you work out, you do your thing. I see you always out there grinding. You're always trying to make people laugh, always trying to do big shows, promoting. And it's like, you want it. And if you want something, that's life force. And I mean, whatever you believe, however that goes, I think that stuff keeps you alive. Like, you see these billionaires who are 90 years old, and they're like, dude, you're 90 years old. And it's like, if I don't work every moment of every day, I'll just die because the life force is what's keeping me going. Like Warren Buffett, is just going out making billions every day because he's like, I still want to win. Like I went to go visit my grandmother in a nursing home, and she's kind of down and dour and really old and depressed. And we were playing dominoes, and she won. And when she won, she put the thing down, was like, and like duck lipped me. And I was like, yo, grandma wanted to fucking win, bro. That's life force. She's like, yeah, I eat this applesauce, and then I smoke you with dominoes. And it's like, yeah. Let's go. That means that you still got it in you. That means you still got it in you.
Yeah.
And I'd rather see that than like, you know what I mean? It's like if you want to win any variable,
that's that passion.
Yeah,
that's that passion.
And that's what keeps you going.
That is the unassigned hate that we're talking about.
Yeah.
That hate can turn. So every time somebody cuts me off or somebody pisses me off, I say, you know what? I'll see you later. I'll see you along the way.
I've had that happen to me recently, where so many events, and I had these things happen to me where I don't want to wish hate on people, and I try not to.
It's okay.
It happens automatically.
It happens.
But there was, I like over the last couple years, I've had events where people did me wrong, and I remember I looked at myself in the mirror. I do incantations too.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Oh,
so
okay. Yeah.
I like talk to myself. I go, you're doing it. You keep going. You got it, bro. And one of these incantations, I was like, you're gonna be here when that person fails, and you're gonna watch it happen, and you're gonna be here when it happened, and it's gonna fill you, and you're gonna be here. I promise you. Did you like that? But I promise you, dude, every time.
Like
that
clockwork?
Person, like clockwork, falls off. Something happens. Gotta go. Lose the thing. And it happened recently with in a close friend.
Oh, no.
Where a close friend kind of did me wrong.
And you were like,
ha! And I was like, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here when that comes around. And you're going to look at me, and I'm going to look at you, and we're both going to know. And it happened, and I felt sick.
Yeah.
I felt sick to my stomach. And I was like, look, you're not Voodoo Jones, so you're not going booga wooga and things are happening. But just the fact that you would incantate hate out into the world, or incantate something that you want something bad to happen to somebody else, or like that you would draw energy from that. I felt like maybe as a kid or whatever, it was that. But after I get a certain point, I was like, man, that makes me sick. I would never do that. And so now when it happens, I wish the best.
Yeah.
Like if I get dumped or something like that, I go, I wish you all the best. I wish you blessings on blessings on blessings.
Yeah, because you don't want that energy to come back to you.
You don't want that. And you also, that means you believe in yourself.
Yeah.
I believe in myself. I might be mad, I might do this and that, but I'll do okay. I'm a pretty good guy. And I feel like, and I've seen a lot of guys, I'm like, that fucking fool's a dork. Good luck, right? And I feel like, hey, man, I might get mad, but I say no fucking boring dork, right?
Yeah.
And I think that thing is about feeling good about yourself as opposed to someday she'll see someday. And it's just I just don't want to ever feel that or ever even incantate that in any way, just because I had it happen with friends and I had it happen in a couple situations. And in my 20s, it was all right, but then it happened in my 30s, and I was like, I don't like how that turned out. And then it happened like 4 years ago, and I was like, I feel sick. I feel like I did something wrong. I did bad voodoo to somebody.
Yeah.
And I think that stuff comes around.
But you know what? I also tend to see that when people, it might just be the fact that they are already living that lifestyle where they're just used to burning so many bridges that when something bad does happen to them, it's not by your own fault or something that you said to make happen. It's just, it's like a linear progression where they did this, 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 you know what I mean? But in your head, you're all superstitious because I know you're Latino.
No problem.
And you're like, I take responsibility for that. I did that, you know?
Yeah. And you should. And I think if that's our thing, then that's our burden to bear. Because I like that it's just hey, I must have did something that didn't work out. And that's probably for the best. If I didn't kiss the right ass and lost that move, I don't want to be an ass kisser anyway.
Yeah.
Because I've been in relationships with people where I'm in the middle of it bro, what the fuck you doing? That's not even you. You're bending the knee over some booty, you know what I mean? And I just feel like you gotta, and then they don't like you. And then you go wait, but I was bending the knee over booty, you know what I mean? And they go no, we don't want that. And I'm like, oh, you're right. I wouldn't want that either, some kind of sycophant. You want to be with the person who you wanted to meet the first time.
Yeah.
So I think you got to just stay you, even when that goes a little bit angry or a little bit this or a little bit that. And if they go like, hey, what is this, that? You go, that's me.
Yeah.
And we're just doing our best out here. And you deal with that or you don't deal with that. But this, oh, baby. Yeah. Like there's this Kevin Hart bit where he talks about like, yeah, I just left the store, but I could turn around. It's like, you don't want that. You don't want that energy. You know what I mean? You don't want that bit. I saw this great also podcast about, stick, like if something's right, stick with it.
Right.
I forgot where I saw this. I saw it somewhere where, maybe Whitney Cummings, something. But it was these two women talking about sex. And they're like, their biggest pet peeve is that when a guy is having sex with them and they hit that spot and they're going and they're going and they're going and you're giving them the signs like, go, baby, go, baby, go. And then they change. And it's just like, don't change. We just gave you the cue. And then they try something else, like turn around, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, stick with what works. Like, go with what works. If it's working, stay working. Don't try to change it when I'm giving you the moans. And they're like, now I want to go upside down. It's like, and I think like that, I don't know, it triggered me on so many things because like that's so much of life. Like if you're doing something in life and it's working, don't go like, I wonder if I could be a ballerina. Like just stay with
stay
what works.
In your lane, stay in the zone.
And it's like if you got from here from like I'm a single nobody, whatever, to I'm with some hot chick and things are going good. Stay the fucking course. Don't now go, oh, now I'm going to be and like try to be somebody else that you're not because you feel like I'm wrong because that person doesn't like that thing about me. I think it's more important to be super authentically you and take your chances.
Right.
You know what I mean? Take your chances. And it's like maybe they'll adapt, maybe you'll adapt, whatever. But this idea of like, I think sometimes, I mean, relationships, guys, girls, whatever, like just with friends or with, love, where you get into this like, oh, no, I'll do it. I'll change this thing about me. And then afterwards you go, man, I really didn't want to do that, but I just felt bad for this person, so I just did it. And I think you do that too many times, and then you're like, who am I? And then you get mad. For me, at least. And I get mad. And so I felt like for me.
And then you end up in therapy.
And then you end up in therapy. And I thought it's so important to just be like, hey, man, if whatever's working, go with it. What got you here is a good thing, so stay with that, as opposed to trying to like, oh, I'm going to be this person for this person and this person for this person.
Yeah.
Comedians do it too. I see it all the time. There was this guy, every time he went up, I was playing this one room that was a mostly black crowd. And every time we go up, we go, what up, yo? I'm like, bro, you never said what up, yo. Like, stop. What up, fam?
I'm going to have to ask you after this who that was.
No. Oh, no. I forgot the guy's name. But he used to always come to the Lexington. And he would always come to Lexington. He'd brag about all the shows he's booking. The Lexington shout out to Lexington, downtown Los Angeles. But yeah, very funny stuff. Yeah.
Oh no, pandering is the worst. Yes. That's exactly what that. You can pander off stage, not just you can pander in life.
Yeah, I mean, look, we all got to do a little ass kissing somewhere here and there, but I think that there is I think it's important to kind of know.
I mean,
even if I'm a little off, I'm better to be okay with it than to be like, oh my gosh, should I change? Like, I think that gets annoying. Yeah.
I don't know if it's necessarily ass kissing. Like, I like to reframe it and say it's networking. Because, I don't go as far as to be like, oh, you're a wonderful person. I don't tell people shit that I don't think is genuine. Like, I'm not like nose deep in shit. You know, like that's not where I'm at.
I always love that the comedians I trust, whenever they post a picture of a show and the show's not going well or the comedian's not doing well, they'll post
killing
a picture.
It.
Dude, no, they'll say kicking us off. I'm like, perfect.
Oh my God.
Perfect.
That's funny.
Kicking off a fire show or like getting us started. And I'm like, mwah, chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. That's like the perfect. Like, very good is the adult fuck you, in my opinion. So if somebody goes to you and they go like, yeah, I don't like the way you did that. And you go, very good.
Oh,
it's kind of like, go fuck yourself. But it's like without saying the word.
Yeah, I have to learn how to say things like that because I'm a very direct person,
There's this comedian, Ernesto something, who had a great tweet. Shout out to Ernesto. I'm so sorry. Ledesma?
Ledesma.
And he had this great thing, and he goes, when a person's 2 minutes into a 10-minute sentence, they go, so what else? And I was like,
my God.
Perfect, bro, perfect. It's one of those like you didn't know it was there, And then when you see it, and I always think about that. Like if ever on a set and I'm in the middle, I'm like, don't say someone else.
Yeah.
But again, self-recognition, like awareness of self, awareness of how you're coming across and like whatever. And it's not, you don't want to come across as an ass kicker or ass kisser.
Yeah.
You just want to.
I want to be an ass kicker, that for sure. But ass kisser, no. Yeah. But I mean, I like that you brought up self-awareness, because that also translates to everything too. Even though like when we gotta feel our fucking emotions, we can't let them out. That I think resonates a lot, particularly when we're going through, an episode.
This is an episode.
This is a short film. My episodes have now become segments of short films. That's how I see them. You're in and you're witnessing the life of. So I don't know if you know this, if I ever told you this. Otherwise, you've probably heard it in my set where I have schizophrenia.
Sure.
Right. Okay. And I kind of talk about, like what it's like being Latino and being diagnosed with it. And so when you told me...
They can't tell the difference. It's a great joke. Go ahead.
So when you told me that you were never formally diagnosed, and I always thought, oh, okay, so is it because you're a man? Is it because you're like, I don't know, like I'm not gonna go, I don't think anything, or
100%.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest with myself, I said to myself, there's a threshold of truth I'm willing to tell someone.
Yeah.
And for me to go to therapy and not willing to break that threshold, because there are things I am willing to tell. Like I am willing to say, like, dude, I get sad about this, I get mad about this. But then there are other things that I'm like, you should just try and figure a little bit of that out for yourself, or with a close friend in a moment. Like I think like there are times when I felt huge therapeutic moments, sitting by a fire with a friend, or like talking over, in a late night situation at a diner, where you have this comfort level in you, as opposed to like, I made traffic, got there to the subway, and now I'm, I got a sandwich and now I got to go to therapy. Like there's this kind of like, tell us your stuff now on a Wednesday. And I just feel like there's a little bit of like, it's too like vent on demand.
Oh, therapy.
And so I feel like, therapy. And so like, I feel like that's where I got into a little bit of that. I don't want to like, just because it's Wednesday, have to like bring up things that I don't feel. I like to go to like, I guess, therapy a la carte, where it's like, if I'm feeling away, I'd like to be able to talk to somebody or whatever. And I think that would be more for me. It happened once, and then that was that.
So when I say, is it because you're a man, I'm not like assigning particular like gender roles or anything, but sure. I tend to notice, and this is obviously, it's been documented that men are less apt to want to address certain things, so they hoard it in, they hoard all their feelings, and then that's the reason why it comes out in the form of anger. And I think like for you to be very comfortable with anger, that's true. That's because that's the emotion that men are allowed to show.
100%.
100%. Men are allowed to show anger. And so you guys are like, well, if I can't show my vulnerability in any other way, I'm going to show that I'm masculine because I'm angry, and fuck you and fuck the world. And then you go home and you cry and you say I'm broken because I'm angry.
Right. 100%. And that's the thing. And I think for women, they go like, why are you being such an uppity bitch? And you're just like, I'm feeling the same thing the man feels.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I totally get that. That's 100% true. And I think that there are variables in that. But I feel like my sort of the cross that I bear is that I'm kind of a pussy. In that, like, I feel like when I get overwhelmed, I'm like, how? And it's like, what the fuck, bro? Hold it together. You got two balls. You know what I mean? Like, something in me comes out like, dude, you gotta, like, but this is just taking too long. And I just get, like, it's not even like the feminine, it's just like a falling apart. Yeah. Where I find, like, too many things happen, and I fall back to mantras, you know what I mean? I'm like, you're blessed, you're strong, you're blessed, you're strong, you're blessed.
So you have grounding techniques.
And I have grounding techniques where I go like, you're blessed, you're strong. This is exactly how it's supposed to be. You're blessed, you're strong. And I get into these things, and it's like sometimes it's for very, it's great that I have that.
Yeah.
But then sometimes when I'm done, like, I'm so sorry that they didn't have my sugar-free Red Bull. And it's like, you're like, why did you need that technique to get through, I knew they wouldn't have it. I called up and I said, do you have it? And they went, we have it. And then I drove over there. And it's like, dude, that's the time you could have spent with your grandkids that you just wasted on a story about sugar-free Red Bull. You know what I mean? And that's the sort of level of embarrassment where you start to think, like, what I'm losing in this exchange.
You're just losing your shit, essentially.
And you're losing your shit, but you're also losing, like, time or, like, balance or, like, all these things, you know what I mean? Where it's like, one of the best advices I ever got was do less. And it's so true. It's like, do less. Just, like, wait it out, man. If things are chaotic, just go, and just wait it out and just see where it goes. Whereas I think, I don't know how that works in schizophrenia, but I know for me, it's just this sort of panic. Like, I got to do a million things. I got to do all these things. I gotta affect this in some way. I have to take control of this. I have to do this thing. And then it's like there's this other voice that just comes out that just goes like, this is so useless. I don't even know what
I wish my voice has told me that.
All this is so pointless. And you have to battle, like, now I'm battling the thing that's telling me not to battle the thing. And it's like that kind of stuff where I get into, I think that's where I feel like there might be just something like a tick here or a tick there with me. But then I also feel, I could use it on stage sometimes. I could use it, to have jokes sometimes.
But that's another good thing that I think that we do, which a lot of people I've heard people say, being on stage, don't use it as therapy. And you're like,
whatever.
Yeah, you like, what the fuck does that mean? Everybody's using it for therapy, regardless of what you say.
Yeah.
Everyone has different coping mechanisms. I'd rather see that motherfucker use it on therapy instead of go and get a gun and use that as 100%. Therapy.
100%. And that's the thing. I think a lot of these, recently, when I was home, I was dealing with a lot of teenagers. And they need to shower more. I don't know if that's like a public service announcement. Teenagers stink nowadays, bro. They're like I don't know.
Because they're going all natural.
I think it's a thing. They're like deodorants for the man. I'm like, you need to be the man because you stink. And so I don't know what that is, right? But that's the thing. But they're also like kind of like there's a moroseness. There's like a sadness to them. That's like I feel like, I'd rather you like egg houses and be a dick than just kind of like. It's like, whatever, Spider-Man, whatever. Let's go get a soda. You want it? Whatever. Like, even hearing them talk or, like, being around each other.
Yeah.
Want a shower? Whatever, right? And they don't have this sort of, like, yeah, man, let's fucking cause shit. Let's start shit. Like, there was this kind of energy that I remember having as a teenager that wasn't so, kind of like, meh. And I feel like when you see these kids going through that and you're just like, I think that, like, as much as they sort of, like, you don't want to put kids in therapy and stuff like that, like, I think they need to talk to somebody. I think everybody needs to talk to somebody. Yeah. And I think especially kids, whether it's a teacher or whether it's a parent or whatever, like, they got the most questions. Like, I've had 40-something years to figure it out, and I'm still like, oh, just one more thing, So I can't imagine a kid who's like, I just got all these hormones, I just got all these feelings. And everybody's like, you can't feel this, you shouldn't feel that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree wholeheartedly. But I also think that that's tough now, particularly because of accessibility. And while I think that, the only way you're probably ever going to get therapy as a child is if you go to school with bruises, because that's a fucked up way of doing it. But that is the way a lot of kids get free therapy. Mostly because, it's expensive. It's an expensive thing.
100%. And I think that that's one of the things that I like about some of these websites that pop up, that it's like you can do kind of a therapy online with somebody just because there is a thing about, I don't feel the same way, but kids kind of have grown up interacting that way. I mean, you got to think of these kids where they had their best friends during COVID.
Yeah.
Which was like 3 years of, I knew a kid who dated a girl through COVID. It's like they only talked to each other through a window.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you need therapy.
And
you're going to go through it.
It's
and
just
it's
like
different. It's like one of these things where, like, if you can talk to somebody in some way, I think that whether it's to a screen or whatever, but even with the screen, they're like, I really want to help. Do you have a credit card? And you're like,
But I mean, it's still like, it's isolating,
100%.
It's and you don't want to feel that way, that the isolating. And I think that people think that getting help is, it's not necessarily, now I feel like I want, because this is what I always want to reframe is when people ask for help, they think that it's because they're weaker.
Sure.
And I'm like, that's not necessarily what it means.
Sure.
It just means you know when you need it, and enough is enough. And you don't necessarily have to, like I gotta feel like I gotta want to stab somebody
100%.
or go up on stage and beat some other guy's ass.
100%. And I think it's better to kind of know, I feel these little things in the world.
Yeah.
Maybe I should talk to somebody.
Yeah,
about
they
it.
could be just little feelings, kind of like, when you were a kid and people were thinking, oh man, that's abnormal. I think it's too early to call when you're that age, like whether it's abnormal or not. Maybe they just thought that something was going on at home.
Sure.
I think that's the investigative part of it.
Sure.
But sometimes, when you do, it's when you carry that rage with you throughout life, that's when you're like, okay, what, and it doesn't morph into something, into a productive outlet. Like, yeah, I got rage and shit, but I use that to go up on stage to be funny.
But do you have moments, like, not to get too much into your stuff, but do you have those moments where you're just like, I didn't know who I was 5 minutes ago?
Fuck yeah, every goddamn.
What time is it, motherfucker? I'll tell you right now. I haven't known since I was since 2 minutes ago.
Hey, dude, look, and I'm learning. I'm still learning too. I had a moment on my fucking birthday. All right.
Oh my god, that's harsh because it's like you want it to be.
Well, okay, look. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful day, and I had been working a lot the night before. I got home late from work. I got home at 4 a.m.
Okay.
I went to sleep, and I was like, how am I going to get enough sleep to go to my surprise birthday party? Because I knew it was a surprise birthday party. I woke up, and I'm going to be... I wasn't upset at the fact...
Happy birthday, my lord.
Thank you. I wasn't upset at the fact that I was having a birthday. I guess I was just already like a little bit irritable, and it's like, and this is what I mean, where like, I will apologize right then and there. And this probably sounds even worse that I say it in this way. I went to where we were having dinner, and the valet, now I sound privileged, but the valet guy, I didn't want him to take my keys. Okay. I wanted to park the car myself and keep my keys, and he said, no, we have to take them. And I said, fuck this.
Let's go.
I lost my shit. And then he says, you can go and park at the Pete's Coffee. And then I was like, and the demon woke up in me.
Yeah.
And then I was taking even more time because I was already late to my party, and I was they were asking me, why are you sitting in the car? And I said, because this motherfucker
cannot go to a party.
I said, I need time to slow down.
Yep.
I wanted to calm down. And yeah, so that...
I completely understand.
Yeah, so that's...
I completely understand. And I also think it's this idea of like, I gotta show up and be somebody at a place. You know what I mean? I hate that feeling.
No, but okay.
I gotta show. Hey, it's your birthday. Hey, you gotta be the birthday girl. I'm really happy all the time. I'm happy all the time.
It's funny that you said that too, because before I even got ready, and they called me, and my friends called me, and they were like, "Are you ready for your birthday?" And I was like, "Yes, I'm getting dressed.
I am ready.
As a person. I'm getting dressed." And then I said, "I'm gonna be there soon." So while I was driving there, I told her, I said, I'm nervous about going. And she's like, why? And I said, I don't know. And in the back of my head, I knew that little demon was sitting there saying, how are you going to fuck this up? How are you going to fuck up something so beautiful? And I did. And I fucked it.
And that's a weird thing because it's like the chicken or the egg, right? Like what came first? Was I thinking about it and that's why it came up? Or was it there and I just saw it?
Yeah.
And it's like, I think like that... That's completely understandable. And I think what's interesting about it is it wasn't like somebody T-boned my car.
No.
Or somebody keyed the side of my thing. Or somebody took my purse where you can go, now I'm going to Super Sons. It was just like, you can't take your... What?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's always those little things. And for me at least, it's the same way where I feel like,
You go
it's
from
never
like
somebody that punches me in the face.
No,
I'm like,
you
hey,
go
we should
from-
all calm down.
Yeah, right. You're like super. You're like trying to keep composure. Like somebody hits you, and you're like, oh.
I think the shock of it, I'd be like, oh, we should all just maybe have a conversation. But if somebody was just like, excuse me, I don't like the way you're fucking talking right now. And I think you should just back the fuck up and just relax.
It's that passive aggressive shit, you know,
And it's not even. It's a little slight or a little whatever, and it's like it's to me, myself, and I.
And it's just is enough to set you off, and you're just like, and then you have to realize like, what was it?
Yeah.
What was it about that set me off?
Yeah.
You know.
And I notice like little things that I do, like I try to like, I say my incantations, or I like, I pace a little, or I try to like calm myself. I have these exercises or these things that kind of ground me, but I also feel like. It is sometimes like, whoop, don't have time for that. Time to get mad, It's like, whoa, I got stung by a bee. It's time to kill somebody. And I think like that where it just befalls me. I go like, wow. Sometimes you got to keep an eye on that.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, now I'm learning. And that's all we can do.
We get older, we get wiser.
Yeah.
So you're 1 year wiser.
I am. All right.
And your teeth look wonderful.
Oh,
Congratulations.
thank you.
You have a beautiful smile. Not that you didn't before, but it's very beautiful now.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Jason. Well, it's been wonderful having you. I'm glad that
so
we
much.
got to decompress.
Hey,
I know.
We had a watch. We're professional, and it's true. We nailed it.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So this concludes our episode of
It's Follow me at JasonDelgadoComedy.com. No, just Delgado Comedy on the gram. And then funnydelgado.com.
I'll post all your information, Jason. Don't worry. But this concludes our episode of It's Gonna Be Okay. And remember, Jason, when we get upset, what is it? It's gonna be okay.
It's gonna be okay.
It's gonna be okay. Everything is gonna be okay.
Killed it.
All right. Fun. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Love you.
Love you.